you're going to the Title 4D court this upcoming Friday. Now, the first time you went to a Title 4D court, you had no clue what you were walking into.
I was going to walk in there and say, you can't do anything with my parental rights. I stand on my parental rights. I reserve all my rights.
Yeah.
And I was, facing a lady behind a desk who says, well, okay, I guess we're just going to hold you in contempt.
Yeah. And so, what were you being held in contempt? What crime did you commit? Can I ask you? I mean, did you, obviously, when you...
I can't get a clear answer from them.
Yeah. Because, here's these judges, and my disdain towards some of these family court judges. They're going to come in here, and these are the family court judges. Can you please tell me what my crime was?
Yeah. Where's the injury in fact? That led the petitioner to... and why wasn't the evidence filed with your petition?
Right.
Well, in my case, the 6 months discovery period is done. And so, the last time I was there, the first time I had no clue what was going on.
Yeah.
Second time I had filed paperwork.
Yeah.
Because I said, this is awful.
Yeah.
This is all void.
Yeah.
Is what I said. This is all fraud.
Yeah. It is fraud.
Yeah.
The whole family court system operates. It operates on fraud. It's based on
9 to 5. What do we do to ruin these people's lives?
Yeah. So let me take. I want to hear more about this. But I was a missionary in the Middle East in Jordan, and there were a lot of Iraqi refugees. That came over, and I'll tell you one of the reasons the Iraqi refugees came over is because in the Middle East, Saddam would want to, or his henchmen, whatever you want to call them. I mean, they might say, oh, he's a goldsmith, so we are coveting his gold, and they would come and they would talk, they would take his gold, but then they would imprison the man. But the way that things would work later on, then they would also go after the children, because especially the boys. The idea is, if I hurt the father, the boy will grow up to be a man and put me in danger. Yeah. So, what would happen is they would do something where they would take a man, they might find him guilty of a crime or something like that. And as stories were circulating, the moms with the children would say, we have to get out of here. I'm here to save my children, so that they would leave. But it was a destruction that was centered on a man in most instances. If you go back to the Old Testament with Moses, when the baby Moses was born, kill all the male babies. You come to America today, and in the majority of cases, and I'm not talking every case, but in the majority of cases, men are targeted. We have to destroy the man. But by destroying the man over there and destroying the father and the head of the house, people had to flee for protection, to leave it, to just feel that somehow they had to be protected. And yet, what I think, it's a roundabout way of saying it, but what I almost think is that the state of Texas is almost adopting the same thing that Saddam Hussein has done, in the fact that the family integrity is not important.
Right.
If you can make money, if you can extort some money from that person by getting rid of the father, by targeting the father somehow, they will do so. Now, in America, because there are also women of wealth too, you may be targeting the woman as well, because it goes both ways. But it's basically, Saddam would be doing something to target people for wealth, or for whatever reason, maybe because somebody spoke against him, and you see people leaving, but somebody was being targeted and extorted in a way.
Right, that was the bottom line.
That was the bottom line. And it probably didn't come out clear in what we're talking about, but I see some of the same, in my mind, I see similarities between the way the state of Texas operates and there. For example, my friend Josh Jaros.
Yeah.
He is in jail right now. Outstanding father.
Yeah.
But we need to make sure that every person in Texas knows that if you dare not pay us the extortion price that we have fixed upon you in these fraudulent family courts in the form of child support, this is going to be where you're going to end up. And I don't know if my point is clear, but what are your thoughts?
In the case of Josh Jaros, it's particularly appalling to me because for many years, I was not able to have lunch with my daughter at school. And
So it happened to you too?
And right, and thanks to him, that's now. I think it's at House Bill 922.
3145.
3145.
The school lunch bill, 3145. Hey there, little dog.
3145.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually was down there when it was being heard, and I testified on behalf of it, as did somebody else that I brought down as well.
Yeah.
And it was good to see that it actually got through, because, I mean, really does the school, this board, want to say that, I'm sorry, we despise you so much that you cannot eat lunch with your child at school?
Yeah.
And yet that was what Josh was fighting for. Some people think that he was targeted, perhaps because he was effective in helping to get that bill through with Steve Toth and other people.
It made an example.
Yeah. But I mean, he is in jail right now, and
Makes me fighting mad.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time too, he's in jail for a debt. He's in debtor's prison.
Yeah.
It's as if the state is almost fighting against people that deal with issues of poverty.
Yeah. You take the head of the household, and you make him a slave to the state, where he could never be the kind of father he wants to be.
Right.
It makes everyone more dependent on the state.
Right.
And it just has the effect of a vicious cycle that justifies itself, because they say, oh, well, people need to be on government assistance because they can't, and just like all of these age-old conditions, such as, oh, well, a woman could never to afford to take care of herself.
Yeah.
She obviously needs government assistance from a man.
Yeah. The government forces you to get divorced, and then they say, but you've got to keep paying.
Yeah.
And you can't see your kids at the same time, in many instances.
Yeah. Well,
and then we're gonna throw you in jail to boot.
Yeah. I mean, what will that do to a society?
Yeah.
It'll take a civil war.
Yeah. But I think, on the one hand, what you said, based on your experience, which is not uncommon, what will it do to a society? It will destroy an upcoming generation.
Yeah.
And
that's it.
In addition to that, you're one of the ones that have come out of it, but many people don't. It's not just destroying this generation, but the generation that comes with that other generation. So it's destroying at least two generations.
Yeah, it's just like how divorce impacted myself as a child.
Right.
Now that it's 20 years later, there's a whole new generation of children who are suffering from divorce now.
Yeah.
And really, in my opinion, a lot of it does stem, even a lot of the women's rights weren't able to influence people's minds properly in the mainstream narratives that they're presented on a weekly, daily basis without television. And how television, what in the 1950s
was a different story, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, you look at the families. There were family units.
There were family units.
Even The Simpsons, they kept God in many episodes. Simpsons kept a God-centric family household. They struggled with that. But Marge, in one episode, she says, Homer, if you're trying to compete with God, you're never going to win. You'd never hear something like that on today's, even on Christian channels. A lot of the Christian channels are just as big of a problem.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I told you I was in the Middle East as a missionary. Now we used to have television coming into Jordan from Saudi Arabia, and but the thing is this: you could trust it because when the television came out of Saudi Arabia, they were not going to show sex scenes. The profanity was blurred out. It was family centered. And I thought, I wish I could have this television all the time. You could watch it and you would not have to worry about what your kids would see. There was one time in one episode they forgot to bleep out one word, and I was shocked, like, what just happened here? But other than that, I mean, it was...
That's fascinating to
Yeah,
me.
but you know, you can't even watch a television show for 30 minutes without seeing dysfunction as part of its comedy. Without having some type of swearing or cursing or sexual innuendo or disrespect as part of the so-called comedy or entertainment.
Disrespect is it's the spirit of rebellion.
Right.
And so here we go back to witchcraft.
Right.
And,
Right.
And that's exactly what's being pushed on people
Right.
through mediums such as television.